Good morning, year fives, and welcome to your maths lesson for Tuesday. I hope that you've had a really good day so far and you've enjoyed your reading lesson and you're about to really now focus on your maths. Just want to say well done to all those children who submitted their maths yesterday. It was really good to see you using and applying your fraction knowledge. And I just want to encourage you to make sure that you're watching these videos very carefully and that you're doing the work with me and not just watching it. Okay, it's very important that you're also trying out the methods to see where you're making a silly mistake. Generally, my feedback for what you did yesterday was just silly mistakes and not following through on the steps to success. Remember, I have added all the steps to success in the files tabs for you, so you please go and have a look at those to help you if you need to remember what order to do when. But we're going to carry on with today, and our learning objective is to be adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Now, remember, we looked at the terminology yesterday about what is a mixed number, what is an improper fraction, what's a proper fraction, and hopefully you remember that vocabulary that we learned yesterday. So we'll go into more of that in a moment, but first we're going to start with our starter. So here are your first 5 questions. If you can now pause the video and do these 5 questions for me, and then we'll mark it together. Okay, so let's quickly go through this. Nice and easy today. 3 cubed means 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, remember cubed and squared simply means that I'm multiplying that number either by itself if it's squared, and cubed means I'm multiplying the number by itself 3 times. Right, I'm having this number and I'm multiplying it by 1,000. So I'm going to be moving my digits to the left and I'm moving it 3 times because there are 3 zeros. Okay, so I'm going to have 560 as my answer. Once I've moved it 3 times, I would have had end up with 560. Our simple multiplication here, what times 11 is 121? Or you can do the inverse, 121 divided by 11. And that is going to be 11. Then 170 is divided by 2. I'm going to set up my bus stop method. I will also know that as I'm writing this down, I know that this number is going to be divisible equally because it ends on an even number 2. And any even number is divisible by 2. So because this is an even number and it ends on an even number, I know that there'll be no remainders. So 2 goes into 1 I can't do. So I put my 0 and I carry this 1 over and becomes 17. 2 goes into 17 8 times, which makes 16, and I'm left with 1. And 2 goes into 12 6 times. Okay, my answer then is 86. Right. And the last one, what multiplied by 10 gives me this number? And now I'm going to be doing the inverse. So I'm going to be dividing this number by 10. So I'm going to have my answer is going to be 5.64. Right? And if I just go and double check that, if I say 5.64 times 10, I'm going to land up with the answer of 56.4. So that's a good way to check your answers, is to do the inverse. So hopefully you smashed that starter and you did really, really well and you're really understanding those concepts. Remember, this is all revision of what we've been doing over the last couple of weeks, not just last term, but from beginning of year 5. And some of these facts are even things that you've learned in previous year groups. So hopefully you've really understood your starter, and we're going to now carry on to our fractions for today. Now, we have learned about this question before last term, and what can you remember when you're adding or subtracting fractions? That is very important. In fact, it was step number 1. We needed to do what? Have a real think about this and pause the video if you need a little bit more time. Otherwise, let's see. So very important when we're adding and subtracting fractions is that we make our denominators the same. Can you remember what the denominator is? And hopefully you said it was the bottom number. Well done. So the bottom number, which is our denominator, needs to be the same, okay? Now, when I'm subtracting or adding fractions, if my bottom number is not the same, what can I do to make them the same? Great job. I can make an equivalent fraction. So I can use that fraction knowledge and I can then make an equivalent fraction. And then by making an equivalent fraction, my denominators can be the same. And then I can add and subtract my top numbers. And that's what we did yesterday. Today, we're going to be introducing our mixed number. Now, I put in a few mixed numbers yesterday just to see and test the waters. And I was really impressed by those children who really tackled those questions, because that is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at having a mixed number adding a fraction or another mixed number or an improper fraction, okay? And the method is going to be exactly the same. So first of all, I have a mixed number here, and I have a proper fraction. So it's very important that I make them the same types of fractions. We learned about 3, we learned about a mixed number, we learned about an improper fraction, and we learned about a proper fraction. Now, a mixed number, remember, is when I have a whole number like this and a fraction attached to it. I have an improper fraction, which is when my top number is bigger than my bottom number. And then I have a proper fraction where my number is smaller at the top than it is at the bottom. Okay, so those were the 3 types of fractions we looked at yesterday. And that's why it's very important that you understand that, because today you're going to be using and applying that knowledge. So I have a mixed number here and I have a proper fraction, and I need to decide which one I'm going to use. Now, for starters, I'm going to convert, because it's going to be always the easiest is converting my mixed number. So I'm going to convert my mixed number into an improper fraction. So I'm going to say 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 plus 2 is going to be 10. No, is that true? I'm glad you are awake. Just checking. It is not 3 plus 2, and 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 plus 2 is 8, not 10. And I'm really glad to see those children who are paying attention and not just watching the video. So this is where it becomes important. Right, and we add 2/3. Now that my bottom numbers are the same, I'm feeling very happy, because now all I have to do is I add my top numbers, which is now 10. And I leave the thirds at the bottom, but I don't add the numbers at the bottom either. All right, and I have 10/3, and we leave it like that. We do not change it back to a mixed number. We leave it as an improper fraction, okay? So I'm going to do some, you're going to do some with me, and then you're going to see if you can go on your own, and then we're going to log on to Teams, and we're going to do the questions on Teams. So first of all, I have a mixed number, and I have a proper fraction, and I need to now change one of them so that I can easily add the numbers. Now, it's always going to be easier to change the mixed number, okay, because it's just timesing and then adding. So we always look for the mixed number and we change it into an improper fraction. So that is always going to be step 1. So step number 1, find the mixed number. Here is my mixed number, and I'm going to convert it into an improper fraction. So I'm going to say 9 times 2, which is, good job, 18. And 18 plus 5 is 23, right? I leave the bottom number the same, which is 9ths. And then I bring down this fraction, which is already in 9ths, so I don't have to change it. And there's no mixed number. It's not a mixed number, so I don't have to change it into improper fraction. And now I simply add the top numbers. 23 plus 7 is 30. Leave the bottom number the same, and that is all I have to do. I don't have to change it. I don't have to now change it back into a mixed number. I leave it as an improper fraction. Right, let's do this one together. So get out a piece of paper, or make sure that you've got whatever you have underneath your starter, and let's have a look. First of all, we are subtracting, okay, and I'm actually going to circle that, because often what we do is a lot of silly mistakes come when we add instead of subtract. Now, step number 1 is locate and find the mixed number. So can you find the mixed number? And if you need to pause the video to quickly write down the sum, please do that now. Right, once you've identified the mixed number, can you create an improper fraction for me? Right, so let's see how well you've done so far. So you would have written down this whole sum, and you would have then said, this is my mixed number, and I'm going to change it and convert it into an improper fraction. So I'm going to say 6 times 4 is 24, and 24 plus. I'm actually going to put my plus and my times, so I know exactly what I'm doing. So 6 times 4 is 24, plus 3 is going to be 27. And I leave this bottom number the same. I bring down my subtraction sign. I bring down my fraction. Right. Now, because my bottom numbers are the same, I'm feeling very happy about this. And all I have to do is subtract my top numbers. The 27 minus 5 is going to be 22. Leave the bottom number the same. Okay, and that's all I have to do. Don't go and change it now. That is my answer. So super easy. Right, see if you can now have a go at doing this one on your own. Remember, find the mixed number. Now there is 2 mixed numbers there. So what do you think you need to do to both those fractions? And then see if you can work that out. So pause the video and have a go. Good luck. Okay, let's see how you did. Right, step number 1 is to make sure that we convert our mixed numbers into improper fractions. So I've got 2 mixed numbers here, so I must convert both of them. So I'm going to say 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 plus 1 is 13. Leave the bottom number the same. Right, and then I say 4 times 2 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 10. Leave the bottom number the same. Right, now that my bottom numbers are the same, it's so nice and easy because now I simply add the top numbers. 13 plus 10 is 23, and I leave the bottom number the same. And hopefully you got that one correct. So let's have a quick look and some extra practice if you need. If you don't need, you can fast forward the video to the steps to success just to make sure that you've understood them, and I will upload them as well onto Teams. But let's have a look at some extra practice. So if you would like to do these 2 on your own, you can have a go now, pause the video, and then we'll go through them in a moment. Otherwise, fast forward. Okay, so first of all, we need to locate the mixed number. Here is my mixed number, and I need to change it into an improper fraction. So I'm going to say 6 times 3 is 18, and I say 18 plus the 2 is going to be 20. Let me just rub that out. Right, now that I have 20, I'm going to leave the 6. I'm not going to change it. So I have 26. And I bring down my 5, 6. I don't need to change that because it's already in the fraction form that I want. Okay, now that both my denominators are the same, I can simply add my top numbers and I get 25, 6. Right, this one, I've got 2 mixed numbers, so I need to change both of these into improper fractions. So I'm going to say 10 times 2 is 20. 20 plus 2 is 22 tenths. And then I say 10 times 4 is 40. 40 plus 8 is 48 tenths. Leave the bottom number the same. Right, and now I need to add these 2, and it's going to be 70 tenths. And that is how I stay. So it stays like that. You don't need to convert it. You don't need to change it. You just leave it like that as your answer. All right. And hopefully that has made a little bit more sense to you now and you've really got that. Right, so let's look at the steps to success. First of all, I need to change any mixed number to an improper fraction. So I've got 2 here that I'm going to change. So I'm going to say 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 5 is 21. And I leave my bottom number the same. Bring down my plus sign. Then I say I got to convert this one as well because it's also a mixed number. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12, 8s. Right, now I'm going to add or subtract the numerators. Okay, now because I'm adding, I'm just going to circle that to make sure that I'm actually remembering that I need to add. 21 plus 12 is going to be 33. Very important, leave the denominator the same. Okay, leave the denominator the same and do not simplify or change to a mixed number. Leave it like that. I'm just going to make that a little bit neater just because this is going to go into the file. So just remember that I will put these steps to success into the files tab for you so that if you are stuck and you need a bit of a reminder, here are your steps to success. This is going to help you. Okay, and I'm actually just going to take away that circle because I think that might confuse you as well. All right. So hopefully that's going to help you to work out those steps. So first of all, change your mixed numbers into improper fractions, okay, using that method. And if you also need that method, it's also in your steps to success. Then you add and subtract the numerator, which is the top number, leave the bottom number, which is my denominator, the same, and do not change it. So you just leave it like that is. And that is your steps to success for today. So you can log on to Teams now. There's going to be 7 fluency questions, which is ones that we've just done. And then I've included 3 word sums to try and see if you can put that into practice. Now, some of you already put that into practice yesterday with your working out. So well done to you guys. You are already ahead of the game. And so those children who didn't get a chance to do that math yesterday, please make sure that you do your math today. We are monitoring it. We are checking up on you. So please make sure that you are giving it a go. So hopefully you all understood that. And I hope you have a wonderful day of learning. And I'll see you back here later. Bye.